I'd like to call the meeting to order at 10 o'clock. All stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord God, we come to you to pray for the ACCOA board members. Guide us to make good, honest, and just decisions for the seniors in our community. We pray for our executive director and all staff. Guide them in their daily efforts. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ronald Lynch. Here. Pam McKinnon,
Here.
Dolores Schlicker,
Here.
Phil Potter,
Here.
Robert Turek here, Fairman Bachhorst is absent. Member at large Commissioner Carolyn Brumman
Here.
and Mike Chepanowski.
Here,
Is that close enough?
yeah, you hit it, you nailed it.
Okay. We have approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. You have the approval of the minutes. We need a,
Motion to approve the minutes.
we have a motion. We just need a second.
I'll second.
Motion by McKinnon, second by Schlicker to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public comment. You have 2 minutes per person. Please give your name and township, please, if you have a comment. Okay, no comments. So we'll move to presentation. We have Andy Shaw, our developer, our construction manager, to give us an update.
Thank you, Phil. All right, I'd like to start in with the residential. So on the residential housing, we have all 8 houses framed with roofs, weather tight with windows. And so the outside's coming along. On the siding, we started on house number 2. Siding's looking great. It's coming right along. We ended up ordering all 8. Oh, thank you. Great. So we
Down in the back.
okay.
Probably have to turn it down.
Okay, so anyhow, so on the trades on the inside, we have everyone going. We have Gauthier Heating and Cooling, received rough inspection on all 8 houses, delivering units this week. And those continue working on all 8 basically at the same time. On the insulation, we've had all the insulation delivered. So if you go in each one of the houses, you'll see a big stack of all the insulation. On the plumbing, they're kind of attacking that on a level by level basis. So they've got one guy going through, kind of doing all the in-wall plumbing, another fellow kind of down in the crawl spaces doing that portion, then another fellow kind of doing the vents out the roof. So that's kind of going on all 8 houses. We hope to have an inspection on either Tuesday or Thursday for the electrical, which will be the final inspection in 2 and 3. So we have all of our inspections for rough plumbing, or rough heating and cooling. In 2 and 3, we've got rough plumbing. Hopefully again, either Tuesday or Thursday, it'll be rough electric, which that allows the 4-way they call it. So then Adam will have it come in that'll be Harry Harvey. He'll inspect all the lumber. And then once we have that, we can start our insulation. So our hoping is that we insulate at least one house on Friday. That'll be house number 2. Somehow we just got going on house number 2. That's kind of our first house that we work on. And then drywaller came by yesterday, and we're looking to start drywalling probably Monday, either Friday or Monday. We'll see how the week flows. And then we'll just keep cooking right along. So that's the inside. On the outside, it's really just siding right now. We've got all the soffits finished. And we'll wait until it thaws out more before we do anything with concrete or doors. So the housing is coming right along. We finally finished with Consumer Energy, the electrical layout. That took longer than I was hoping, but nonetheless, we finished that. We had a little, they had Alcona County on their paperwork. I don't know how that happened, but we got that corrected to Alcona County Commission on Aging, so that's all done. But then I took that, or that was last week, got that to the gas people, DTE up in Alpena, and that's just kind of the sequence. The electrical takes lead possession, and then you follow with your gas. So that's underway right now, and we've got those coming. We had real good meetings, many of them. We had on-site with the health department, Eagle, going through you were there, we had it was really a good part of the day. We had a big crew of people and just going through septic, well, and that kind of stuff. And then we've got 2 great specialists. One guy is Michael Schwartz with Prina Newhoff, and he is the septic specialist because of the challenges. It's a really difficult system to engineer because you have all these various uses at various times. You can have big peaks and low conditions. So this fellow, that's all he does. And David Schmidt they really got kind of bonked, you know. So they're 2 septic guys, and that's one thing. And then on the water well, same thing at Prina Newhoff, we have a fellow, I think it's Peter Brink. And so same thing on the water, we were gonna try individual wells, and that looked like not the way to go. So we're figuring out exactly how the well system is gonna work. And it looks like we're gonna have one well place, which will be in the northwest corner of the courts area. And then that'll have the water that'll service both the residential and the center. So it'll kind of be 2 wells that'll come together and then head out, and the system will be generally set up so that any one well can take care of 98% of the time. The situation will kind of bounce back and forth. So that's underway, and that's the residential coming right along. You know, I'm gonna throttle that. We probably could finish, you know, May-ish or what have you, but I may pull some guys onto the foundation and then put them back over onto the housing. So I'm just kind of working on that. And then big thing is we had a meeting with Harry Harvey yesterday and got permission to start digging our foundation. So on the overall building, we're going to get 1 shell permit, and a building shell is defined as the foundations, the steel, the outside skin, if you will, the bottom masonry, the top roof, and the insulation and the glass. So basically all those things you need to do to make a weather tight shell. And so we'll be submitting all those drawings for the entire building next Monday, and then hopefully getting a permit, you know, a week, 10 days after that. And then we'll have our shell permit before we actually pour any concrete for the footings, and that's looking about March 18th. So the big thing is we got steel showing up the first week of April, and that's kind of the critical path thing I'm working against. We got to make sure the footings are there to connect the steel too. And so that's how all that's coming. And then on the, building itself, we have everything underway. So we've got McMillan doing our HVAC, which we're 98% have that all laid out. You know, they've done all the calculations for heating, cooling, and fresh air. The code, fresh air is the real big one, you know, so you need a lot of, you have to keep flushing that air, which is nice when you're in it, but then it just is a challenge to build it. But anyhow, that heating, cooling is coming right along. Electrical's probably about 80+% finished. They're almost, you know, they're just kind of waiting on some things here and there. Plumbing, just got the updated plumbing yesterday, and we're probably, you know, 95% laid out. So we'll start bidding those interior ones as soon as we get them. And then again, that's freeing up, we needed all those load calculations to finish our septic, our water, going to consumers and going to DTE. So all those are ongoing. And then, overall, we're buying a lot of things that are long lead. So real close to ordering the bleachers. Came up with these really cool, individual mobile bleacher units that kind of give us, we can only have 150 seats. When we were getting our site plan approval with parking and all of, fire code and what have you, we were only allowed 150 seats of bleachers. And then when you kind of look at where you might want them and how they would be placed, the portable bleachers that are really user friendly, like anybody can just tilt them up. They're all like pressure assisted, you know, so you just tilt it up, fits in a corner. And the cool thing is, like, even for an event like this, if we were having, you know, if there were some play or something, you could just kind of line them up right here in any given room. So I think they're gonna give us all the seats we can get, and then with the most potential future use, whatever the event may will be going on. And they all meet code. They only go up 30 inches, and that's the code requirement. For anything greater than that, you need railings, but below that you don't. And we got a good price for about 55,000. So when you take 150 seats divided by 55,000, I mean, I had quotes at almost 3 times that, you know, so we really worked that one, and we got this Farnham company, it's actually Hussey Bleachers, but then it's Farnham company out of Michigan that'll be supplying them. They're the state dealer. So really happy there. Our main guy, David, he's 27 years experience in the bleachers. He's really been helpful. So that's coming along. We've got a lot of fun things. We're finished on the floor plan. We had a good bump up in the game room area, and I think people are gonna love that. I feel like as I look back at the floor plan and just kind of look at it proportionally, everything's looking really good. You know, we've got good space allocation, good flow, all those kind of things. I think everyone's gonna be happy. The offices are gonna be great. We've got HVAC right over the top of the offices, so it's gonna be I think we're gonna be really impressed at how comfortable in all conditions that the office space is. Great location, and then started working on the server and kind of more the electronics of it. We've got a spot in the lockable room in the file room for the server. We're kind of working with a couple companies right now, and that'll be ongoing just to make sure we've got the right wires. You know, it'll be quite a while since we put them in, but we want to make sure we've got all the Cat 5 where we want it, all the Cat 6 and the right amount of plugs, and so we can kind of, you know, in any given situation, you either have Wi-Fi available or direct plug in. So that's coming along. And then, yeah, we're just bidding everything, bidding the steel for the second portion of the building that is called the conventional steel. We got a great deal on the outside, so it's this really beautiful product. It's gonna look very similar to what we have on the other portion, but it's just a different, because the buildings are built differently. One's a pre-engineered metal, the other is the structural. We have a slightly different product, and basically got a really good per square foot cost. We're about $12 per square foot from the inside drywall to the very outside. So if you were just going for the wall, and cut 1 square foot, that 1 square foot will cost about $12, and that's great, you know, it can be a lot, a lot more, so. But the skin's about $120,000 on that thing, and so a lot of it is now, like, we're still preserving this $1 million cushion, we're at like $984,000 as of this morning. And that's, you know, that will get allocated, because right now I'm running thin on, you know, we've got the level 5 in the gym floor, but we're at like, level 2 on certain other areas. We, you know, if there's money's looking there before we make the final pull, we'll jump that up, right? So there's all kind of like people like, how would this go down? And we'll see if we don't, you know, we'll probably get hit on something, who knows, HVAC unit, or maybe our final steel cost or something. And then, but as we're really close to the end, right before we're getting ready to let that last group of contracts, you know, for tables and stages, and we'll kind of like, you know, spread that out in good ways at that time, you know, and if we can upgrade here, upgrade there, you know, we'll do it at that time. So that's where it is. Everything's coming along well. We're gonna have our, you know, when people start seeing this building go up, I think they'll really get an idea of how the scale of this thing has come together. And then we just got our kind of final upgrade, you know, up-to-date architectural drawings, no big changes, just little tweaks on window sizes, door locations and stuff, but the building's gonna have a really good look to it. I'm really convinced that you're gonna, you know, people are just gonna look at it, it's just gonna naturally strike them as an attractive building. And then when you walk in, hopefully, you know, we're just shooting for people's mind getting blown, that if they start walking through, they're just gonna be just completely amazed at how all the different offerings, so that's all I gotta go.
I have a quick question. Our garages, especially for the home delivered meals, are they gonna have doors on them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we've got your 2 cars in there and, big, I mean, it's a really big garage, so someone asked on the door opening, so we tried to lay it out so that all the doors are open and there's still room. So we kind of did the math where you pull in, you can open all your doors and you can still get around, so yeah, plenty of room and heated, so yeah. And nice,
Thank you.
and then, yeah, so just have a garage door opener in the truck and pull in, and there you go.
Garage door opener do it.
Yeah. I don't want you to have to.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, no, pull up.
I might just have to go back to work.
That's about it. Moving on all fronts all the time.
Okay, any other?
Yeah, I played with that, so Lisa asked about the siding color. And our siding is LP siding, and they have about 9-10 colors. And then I was playing with the color motif, keeping them all in the same general tones. And then I came up with, when you do these, like if I were to do a condo project, you know, you pretty much always have them all the same. There might be some colors within. And then I just started thinking, you know, if let's say the blue house is available, or the green house, or the gray house, and you don't want the greenhouse, you know, you wanted the gray house. And so we got a really nice, really like a frost silverish kind of gray, really pretty. And I think we just keep them all the same. And I've tried to really have that in my mind. I don't want some future renter to go into their neighbor's house and it's kind of that, you know, oh, you got X, but I got Y, you know, how come I got Y? So I'm trying to keep them as uniform as we can.
Put a different color door on each one of them.
If you needed to, yeah. Yeah, that could be a good deal. I'm in blue 4, yeah, in case you're tipping humidity that night. So that's about it, looking good.
Okay. There was one question I had, if we change from Alcona Commission on Aging name on the building to, I was looking at the logo on our book and on our shirts and everything, it's got a sunrise. And I had mentioned to Wendy, first I mentioned it to Andy. Yeah, we just want something simple for the people to remember. We talked about it. And we came up, when I looked at the book, I took it right to Andy and I said, what about Sunrise Center? You know, it's super simple. It matches our logo. It has a sunrise coming up. So when you come to the center, you're like, meet me at the Sunrise Center. It'll still have Alcona, by Alcona County Commission on Aging. How soon would you need that if the board decides on that name? I mentioned it to Wendy that I looked at the book. And I said, I came up with this name and she looked at me without me even saying anything to her. She goes, the Sunrise Center. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that it just popped up, like that. So I guess, we have to determine as a board if the board would like that as our main name for the, meet me at the Sunrise Center. In Lincoln, it's super simple to remember. And it would still say on our sign, the Sunrise Center, by Alcona County Commission on Aging type deal. So we'd still know the Commission on Aging is involved. So I guess it's up to the board, but I think that you said something about let you know so you can change it on your prints.
Yeah, well, anytime.
Does it have to be done right away before the prints are done, or the final print should say that?
I think we've got plenty of time though. I wouldn't feel any time pressure on that. Whenever you let me know, I'll just adjust all the drawings and everything accordingly. It's no big deal.
Okay, so you have time for that then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't feel time pressure then, or we've got a spot really right where the trailer is, where it's kind of flat, and that's kind of the natural spot for a sign right there, so. And signs usually are 6 to 8 weeks, so you probably got still till midsummer to really have to hone in on an exact, layout.
Is there any place that you've got that you would recommend for a flagpole? I think it'd be nice to have a flag.
Yeah, right, yeah, I can think of the perfect spot, just right as you pull in there, there's plenty of room, and so, if you guys like it, you could just kind of envision really right where the entrance is. There'd be a green belt on the other side of the road, as you pull in, and you can have the flag right there. Or, yeah, that's probably gonna be the most visible spot, but sometimes people like them right in front of the front door. You just have to see, but we've got time for that. That's usually just, a good, foundation we can put in, a sonotube type foundation. So I would say probably wait till the steel's up and just kind of be thinking about where you think would be most appropriate. Get that put up.
Would that be a lit flagpole?
Yeah, I'm old school Boy Scouts myself, so if you don't like it, you gotta take it down, but, so yeah, we do have those lights, just, the building has ground mounted lights, but so it'd be nothing to have one more that would actually light the pole.
Okay.
Would you want to consider a second pole with a Michigan flag on it?
Or one pole that can have multiple flags on.
2 poles, one pole, well, I wouldn't want to diminish the American flag.
We got time for that.
Yeah.
I think a cool natural spot will kind of show itself as we. Either the entrance of the building or the entrance off the road. You could make an argument either way.
Okay, that's all I had. Anybody else have any questions for Andy before we let him get back to work? So, Pam, you guys got any questions down there for Andy before we get back to work?
All right, well, thanks so much.
Thank you for the update, Andy. It's coming along really nice.
Yeah, I'm excited. Nothing like steel showing up. That's Christmas morning for builders.
I think it's gonna be Christmas morning for a lot of us. To see all of a sudden, it's like. I get questions every day. It's like, what they doing down there? I'm like, are you serious? But.
And just, just before the steel and cranes show up, then we put gates at the front.
Okay, yes.
And, the OSHA rules are, when you're hanging steel is, 1.3. So if you can just imagine you got a crane that's 100 foot tall, you gotta maintain safety of 1/3. So if something falls over, so I always gotta be cognizant of that. So I'm just I'll probably set it up and get into the trailer. And then you can kind of pull in and then there'll be big no trespassing. Technically, it's a felony to go past that once I erect it. So, but yeah, that's the right now it's okay. We get people, there's nothing, I just know like the site's generally safe right now. But I don't let anyone go back. But we do, it's very rare that I'll stop and there's a couple that wants to just go see that house. And I just try to make time, you know, unless I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting, I'll stop and take someone back there and show them what's going on. But, yeah, once that'll stop. Once the steel guys show up, I'll have to fence that front and put gates and the whole signs. So that'll be coming.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you. Be careful. So we'll move on. Jonathan Lee, we just had an update from Andy on that. NEMSCO's representative is not here. We'll move on to Carolyn. Would you like to give us a commissioner's report?
Just a couple things. I did hand out to each of you a copy of the dates of the board meetings for the Board of Commissioners and the days that are holidays that the meeting will be closed. Or I'm sorry, the building will be closed. So, and the other thing, just one other thing I would bring to your awareness. On March 23rd, Saturday, March 23rd, there is going to be a open house type of thing at Mercator Township Hall from 1 till 3. They have done a lot of modifications to the hall, new flooring, the painting, kitchen, just a lot of things, and they want to show that off. There will be a number of vendors, that type of thing there, including the fire department and so on. So that you are certainly invited to that. Again, Saturday, March 23rd, from 1 to 3.
I'll be there probably with another employee with a booth.
I'll be there for 211, so.
Okay, and I was thinking of, well, I'm gonna bring some brochures and I thought I would bring our most updated blueprint too, just in case people have questions or whatever, just to have that there.
Good idea.
What time is that?
1 to 3.
Okay. Is that all you have, Carol?
Pardon?
Or is that all you have?
Yes,
Okay. We'll close that.
don't want to prolong your meeting.
Okay, we'll move on to executive director's report. Wendy?
All right, mine's kind of long today. Better.
No, it's on the green light. It's on. Just pull it towards you.
That better?
Turn it up in the back. There you go.
Okay. The first thing I had was the budget, which we had a finance committee meeting last week. And everything was approved for that, so I have the budget through January completed. And as you know, we did sell Big Bird, and we did receive $1,765. I believe it was 2,500, but we had to pay for auction fees and driver's fees for 2 Lincoln truck and SUV. For job positions, I have hired a new kitchen manager, Shay, and she started a couple weeks ago. Apparently years ago, there was a kitchen manager who did all of the reporting, the menus, the ordering, inventory. Then over the last few years, I guess it got broke down and several people were doing different things. And one person thought one person was doing something, one person thought that had got sent to NEMSCA and it didn't. So we kind of combined it back to one position. So Shay's gonna be doing basically all of paperwork, reporting, anything for the kitchen. So hopefully that'll work out better. Like, I know when I previously worked here, Julie LaCour did that. She did all of that stuff. So, we're getting that back to where it used to be. And then I had a new direct care worker start yesterday, Lori Newland, who previously had worked here and very briefly and left, and now she's back. She jumped right in. She went out with another worker yesterday. She said it was great. She jumped right in and took right over today and is going out there by herself, so. And then I have started to do some research on jobs for the new facility. I printed off, I'm starting out with the fitness position for the gym. So I went through and printed off some jobs off of like Indeed in the state of Michigan that pertain to like a fitness manager or whatever. Then I thought we could get together maybe the policies and procedures, I'm thinking committee, to actually make up kind of combine those and make up our own posting from there. And then we'll probably have to do the same thing with an event planner, maintenance crew. So I'm gonna start that process. And then, on Mondays, we've been alternating crafts and bingo, every other week, and they're both going fabulously, aren't they?
They really are.
And they have also brought our congregate numbers on Mondays quite high, so Mondays and Tuesdays have been great with crafting and, euchre. Mike's wife Judy donated craft items, so, another Marie has been making cookies, they've been decorating, bringing sugar cookies in, they've been decorating cookies. They're loving it. And people have been bringing in prizes for the bingo so the bingo just keeps going and going, cause each week people just bring in prizes to donate toward the winners of the bingo, so. And then we completed our financial audit with Stevenson that took place the 29th of January through February 2nd. And I believe Sydney will be here in March or April, at our board meeting to discuss the results. And so, I know Andy talked about the houses, and I'm thinking the building and planning committee I might need to start getting with to figure out how we're gonna, what our process is, because I'm getting a lot of phone calls, people stopping in. I've been putting names down on a list of people that are interested. So we need to start figuring out what our process is gonna be. I think we need to come up with some type of applications, you know, how we're gonna go about it. Cause I think between looking at the applications, then, reaching out to references, I mean, it's gonna be a time process to do all of that. So I'm thinking the building and planning committee for that. The next thing I have is the SBA loan, which I gave, it's on the next page. I gave a part of it which is collateral for this loan, which basically the collateral for this SBA loan, that's $150,000, is everything in this building. Previously, Patty and Leroy were trying to reach out to SBA to get everything changed over out of Lenny's name into somebody at ACCOA. The loan is actually in ACCOA's name, but all of the portal where all of our information is, and that is the only way we can get information on this loan is through the portal, is all in Lenny's name. They would not give Patty or Leroy any information. So once again, Patty and I tried to call, and we spoke with 3 different people, spent an afternoon. Nobody will give us any information. They said they have to speak to Lenny.
When-
So,
Can you forward this to me, please?
yes,
Because I would, in my relationships that I've
I
developed.
don't have an actual electronic copy of it.
Okay, I would like to forward it to,
I can scan that and
okay,
send that to you. Okay.
in what I'm developing with Bergman's office, I think this could be helpful. Thank you.
So, and then Patty and I actually reached out to the credit union. Because I was told I needed to give all my personal information, my social security number, driver's license, and I did not feel comfortable doing that at all. So I called over to the credit union because ACCOA banks with the credit union, and I personally bank with the credit union. And I was told, absolutely do not give any of your personal information. That will definitely affect your credit. So now we're in the process of trying to write a letter to them to see if they will release the information. I don't know what's gonna happen. But the last time that we received an actual invoice from SBA was on January of 21, and then they just stopped coming. The loan was taken out, I believe, in 2020. And then the payments were deferred for 18 months, but we are collecting interest, so we've had to start paying January of 23 on it, so we've been paying, but we have no access to see how much we paid, how much we owe, because there would be interest on top of the 150,000 for 18 months, because we can't get into the portal. So, I mean, we're at a standstill right now with it.
So, can I speak?
No.
So for clarification, Lenny signed for this business loan. He gets all the information, does not turn it over to us. We're responsible for it. If we default, they can take everything in this building. And there's nothing we can do about it.
Yet,
Right.
What would happen if we chose not to pay it for a month or 2? I mean, would that get his attention, do you think, to maybe say, hey, they're messing with my credit. I need to be a man and step up and do the right thing? Or, I mean, we can't just sit here and let him hold us hostage with this. We're trying to pay it off. Plus, why would he defer the payments so the interest would build up? I mean, I know you don't really have the answers, but somebody should be asking this.
We can't get no answer. We've been talking to-
All I was trying to ask for, I spoke with some people about like, all we want is the payoff. Just tell me what the payoff is. And they said, absolutely not. We need to speak with Lenny, is what they told us. And they asked if Lenny was sitting next to us that could give us permission. And I said, no, Lenny is no longer with the company. I said, and we just need the payoff. That's all I'm asking for. And they refused to give me the payoff.
Well, right or wrong, I'm asking Mr. Avery to step up at this moment and do the right thing and put that information in our hands so we can take care of this mess up.
And I think the lawyer has gotten back involved to try to accomplish that through those methods, so.
But then here again, we have to pay a lawyer for him to be petty. What happened to I love the seniors? I'm all about the seniors. I'm sorry, I'm angry.
You know, it's been my personal experience, having owned a business, that whenever you borrow money, at some point in time, somebody's personal name had to be on the account. So it might be, the ACCOA might be the name, but it's always had to be a personal contact. And I'm assuming that's his name, but for all we know, Dolores's name is on there too. We have no idea whose personal name has been put on there. Dolores got her name put on something else that she didn't know about. So, you know, that's a problem that I have. We have no idea whose name was put. We know that if we're not getting the statements, it's going to somebody's name. You know, I'm just concerned about somebody like Dolores's name being on there that has no idea that she's on the hook for this kind of thing.
Well, that's my thing. He is the one getting the statements. He knows what he is doing. It's shameful.
Carol,
Well, in this type of situation, isn't there a chain of custody, you know, as far as responsibility for the repayment of the loan? Isn't there something in that contract that would allow for the next person who comes along, such as Wendy, to be able to access that information legally?
No, we can't get into it.
No.
They won't give us no information.
We've called multiple times. I mean, Patty and Leroy spent hours, Patty and I have spent hours on this. Talking with SBA, talking with the banks, talking with the attorney. I mean,
My understanding is talking to the auditor. The auditor
yeah.
has said that they have subpoenaed the SBA for information, and they wouldn't, not on this case, but in other
Right.
cases, and they won't release the information, so.
Carolyn, you have something?
in my conversations with Bergman's office, well, backing up to, excuse me, our finance committee meeting, when we spoke about the,
The black button on the bottom.
when we spoke at finance committee meeting about possibly paying the loan off, just plain sending them the check with the amount, because we can calculate what's owed. Take a little few minutes, but that can be easily done. But when I said to, Ellen at Bergman's office, at Congressman Bergman's office, I said, in one of our meetings, we talked about just paying the thing off and sending them a check, properly annotating the check as to what loan it was applicable to. She said, you know, that may not be a bad idea. She said, the only other alternative they would have is either cash the check and apply it, which would pay off the loan, or send the check back to you, but at least you would have something. And depending on what the attorney, the letter that I understand he is drafting, and the response to that, there has to be a time limit on that letter. It can't just be, we're asking for it. I think there needs to be a 5-day time limit or something of that nature. And it needs to be sent registered mail, because there's way too much mail being lost. I had to go down and get 2 checks canceled out at the bank yesterday for Cedar Lake Improvement Board. They were sent the 1st of February and have not been received by the vendor yet. So it's important that we send a registered mail or priority mail, something that we're gonna know that the SBA gets it and gets the check.
What
But-
would happen if we do pay it off, we send this check, and they said, no, we don't want that? Are they gonna send that check back to us, or are they gonna send it back to Lenny?
Well, that, go back to mine.
I think there was a third issue. I think Wendy had a form, and I don't see it here, saying that had a provision to borrow more money, that
Yes.
it was to expand the loan to,
Right.
so we assume that it's just been 150,000, but since we have gotten no confirmation since 2021 that these payments are even going towards that, we don't know if that loan was taken out and extended beyond that. We just don't know. So then you send off money that when you haven't been getting confirmation of crediting of your payments for the last however, and you send in a large amount of money like that, that brings in a separate risk.
True.
See, that's another thing that I have an issue with is, did the previous board allow him to put all the contents inside this building as collateral?
Well, we know two of the board members had no idea that
We
that.
had
correct.
no idea he did that. It
So
was never brought up.
where does the previous board fall into this this situation? Did they just say, as president, yeah, go ahead and apply and put everything down for collateral? We don't know because
But it's irrelevant
it,
at this point.
well,
Well, how do they sleep at night? They
who,
know what they
who
did.
gave him the authority to put the ACCOA personal property for collateral?
It happened. So
Correct.
we've got to deal now with what happened,
But it happened without our knowledge,
but it happened.
right?
So how do we get, so I
Who's
guess my question is,
responsible?
if we quit making the payments, if he doesn't release it and we quit making the payments, how do we let them come in and take all the personal property? I mean,
Well, it was
It's
a
not
long
his.
time before it ever got to that.
but it's not his.
I think Phil's point is, it's since we have board members who didn't know that this was being done, what else don't we know?
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's my point, that we just don't know, and while I like the idea of not continuing to be assessed interest on a loan that we want to pay off and have the funds to pay off, when we haven't gotten notification that any payment we've sent in has gone towards that, I would have trouble paying off $150,000 without knowing that the payments we have been made have been going towards that, or if it is more than 150,000.
Could be.
And if you
Yeah.
overpay the loan, where does that overpayment end up?
Correct.
Is this something that our lawyer could write Lenny a letter, or the SBA loan people write a letter to them and say, if this isn't taken care of within 30 days, there will be a lawsuit?
My understanding is that, yes, that is going on right now, that the lawyer has taken a further step in that direction.
What would it take to take this to the Supreme Court?
Let's see where it goes from the letter from the attorney first.
Did we give them a time limit? Did the attorney give?
I'd have to look at it and see. I mean, I'd have to see if he did it.
I
would
think he
assume
did.
he would.
I really believe I saw he did.
Needs to be a short time limit.
Correct.
Like 5 or 10 days.
I think that's what it
I
said.
think it was
I
10
think
days,
it said 7.
10 days?
Do it.
7 days.
I think it said 7. Yeah. Okay, continue, please.
Okay, the next thing I have is Caitlin was here on January 23rd from NEPSCA to do in-home service audit. And we're waiting for her response, her write-up. But I think it went really well, and that we have been able to comply with some of the items that she was looking for, some of the forms that needed to be updated, we've updated them. As we've been updating stuff too, we've been putting our new logo on it. A couple of the policies just needed a little tweaking, so we got those to her. And I think she was really happy. She went through 10 files, in-home service files. Some of them had been completed already with the new assessments and, so she was very pleased with, the things that had been completed so far. She was very pleased with that. We are still working on assessments, so we do have stuff, you know, moving forward that, we still have to fix, but, yeah, she was very helpful and very happy with what we have done so far. And then we have our kitchen annual assessment set up. We have to have all of our self-assessments due by the 22nd of March. So myself and Shay and Joy will work on that. And then on April 23rd, Kelly Robinette from NEMSCO will be here to do our congregate meal assessment. Then at that time, she'll set up a home delivery where she rides with one of the drivers for the day for the deliveries. And then just a reminder, on March 11th, which is a Monday, we'll be moving our congregate meals back to 5 o'clock.
What was that date again, Wendy?
March 11th, Monday, it's the day after the daylight savings.
Hmm.
Yep. We took a vote and everybody said to all of the congregate, we, you know, and I mean, they're the ones that come in. So they all wanted it to go back once it starts getting lighter out again, so.
You have any employee hours working out so that there's no overtime or you just want to work out with each individual, however,
For,
being the time change, we're gonna have to stay later.
no, they're gonna come in a half hour later.
Oh,
Like,
so you got it.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Got that all worked out. No overtime. And I think that's all I have.
Okay,
I wanted to make one comment, or two comments, actually. Wendy, working on the job description and pay scale, that's a huge thing, you know, and I think that was directly one of Susan Cray's recommendations. So
was.
Wendy is going right down the list and taking care of all the things that Susan Cray had said had been dropped over the last couple of years and needed to be done. And then the other thing is, I mean, the executive director's job has always been a full-time job without trying to plan for a new building project and expansion. So I mean, I think the board, this is where we're gonna step up, and what she needs help with, we help her out with, because that, you know, that's a full-time job without having to do all these kind of things. There's a lot of things that the board is gonna be able to help if she wants.
All you gotta do is ask.
I will.
We'll be there.
okay. We'll move on to treasurer's report.
The assets, working funds, checking. Checking as of, January 31st, 2024, $381,964.64. New York Life account, $615,013.29. Subtotal of all that is $996,977.93. SV loan, 150, I think we just got done talking about that. But anyway, balance left on loan, $104,385. New building project as of January 31st, 2024, checking Alcona County Credit Union, $120,585.33. money market, Alcona Alpena Credit Union, $500,657.48. New York Life account, 4,000, no, $4,099,976.08, with a subtotal of $4,721,218 $89. New building received 600. There's $6,250,000. Total amount spent as of February 16, 24. $1,939,274.41.
Okay,
But,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Secretary's report.
Let's go ahead. I wanted to say one thing. Yeah.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
We're a little over $2 million that we've spent right now. So even a little bit more, we're sort of almost about a third of what the initial disbursement from the MEDC has got. But the big purchases will be starting in April when the steel arrives. So, we're trying to juggle the CDs to make sure they mature at a certain rate so that Andy has his money when he needs it. But I would make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report, subject to audit.
Second.
Motion by Turk, seconded by Brett. All in favor? This money, do we do a roll call?
Potter,
Yes.
Turek, yes. Bachhorst,
Yes.
Shapanowski,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes.
McKinnon,
Yes.
and Lynch.
Yeah.
Motion carried. So now we can move to secretary's report.
The first item, it was my resignation from as treasurer. As this is no surprise, we had talked about this before. I can read this whole thing, but basically that I just took on that job just to be in compliance with our bylaws, and Roland agreed to take that position back. So I don't know if we need to, for a position of board member, officer, if we need to have a vote to accept my resignation. We did it,
An executive meeting.
kind of did it in the finance committee meeting.
Right.
And then the executive committee decision that's after that, that's following that, gets into what Phil had brought up earlier, talking about the Sunrise Center, locking down the name, the Sunrise Center. I tried to talk to all the board members I could and how they felt about the Sunrise Center. Well, you need to get, if we decide that name is something we want to have, you need to lock that down first before it gets out, because somebody who may not have the ACCOA's best interests in mind could take that name, could sign up social media accounts under those names. And since that had kind of been out, what the executive committee decided to do is authorize Wendy to contract with somebody to set up the web address, social media accounts for the new building project in the name of some variation of the Sunrise Center, whether it's the Sunrise Center Alcona or Alcona Sunrise Center, somehow getting those accounts locked up. Because, we've seen what happens when somebody gets a hold of a social media account and you can't get control of it. It was important to get those names kind of locked down. So I think officially, not only do we need to, I'll read this out, we need to ratify this as a whole board, but then we need to discuss, just to make sure, formalize the fact that it's going to be called the Sunrise Center. So I'm going to motion, first of all, that that the whole board ratify the February 19th, 2024 executive committee decision that says we authorize Executive Director Wendy Bain to contract with such individuals as necessary to secure the web address and social media accounts for the new building project in the name of the Sunrise Center.
It's gonna say the Sunrise Center, and then on the bottom, it'll say Alcona County Commission on it.
By,
I think there's so many variations that we could do, but if we agree that the Sunrise Center in some form is, some locals might say, look, I'm going to the Sunrise Center. But where in a formal document, it might be called the Alcona Sunrise Center. But if everybody's good with the Sunrise Center in some form, we can get going on that.
If I'm not mistaken, we need to come up, like you said, with a name and everything. And once we do, I almost believe that we have to take that and whatever paperwork we need and have it registered. Because when I took my register, we named it Granny's Kitchen, and we found out that there was a Granny Kitchen down Grand Rapids someplace, I think. And so we had to put Granny's Kitchen Public Lake on it in order to have the restaurant named Granny's Kitchen of Public Lake.
I think since the ACCOA owns all this, the ACCOA is still the parent company. So, we own we're the person the grant got issued to. We're the person in control of that. It's just what we're gonna call it. So, there is, when you check registration, business registrations, the Sunrise Center has been listed as a business, but that gets into a whole nother question. Do we need to set up a separate business calling the Sunrise Center? It doesn't sound like it right now. We're just naming, what the project's gonna be called.
Was there anything special about the word sunrise?
no,
Was it associated with anything traditionally around here that makes it a special
well,
word?
you have the Sunrise Dental Center
Which is what?
right down the road from our new building site,
So it makes
the
sense,
dentist office.
so it makes sense to use that particular word. Thank you.
The Sunrise side,
Yeah, and it's our logo. It's right on the,
Works for me.
and it's easy for people to remember if, I'm getting to the point, sometimes it's like, what was I gonna do, and it's like, if you can remember the Sunrise Center, pretty easy,
Works. So Facebook page, Twitter account,
Twitter, Instagram. I don't know what they did,
Yeah,
a whole list of things that they were going to do.
but yeah.
But basically, setting up the bones of all the accounts. I think the goal would be, the ACCOA, Megan has done a whole lot of work on the ACCOA website. That would never go away. That would be the same.
Correct.
That would say the same. But it would be a separate website that would contain all information for the events. You want to have a wedding, showing pictures and everything that would be linked to the ACCOA website and vice versa. The ACCOA would be linked on their website, but you kind of have to get that name locked down and get that in some capacity locked down. Not from a business standpoint necessarily, but from the social media accounts.
so you made a motion that we name it that. Do we have a motion?
I would like to see some sort of ownership, though. Dolores had mentioned something about it. Alcona County Commission on Aging's Sunrise Center. That I could go with, because
Yeah.
I would like to see ownership. of the-
It's kind of like Fairfield Inn by Marriott.
Yes,
This would
Exactly.
say Sunrise Center by Alcona County Commission on Aging.
there you go. It just-
It's almost
some
similar to
ownership
the,
there.
to the big motel chains that have,
Right,
by the company that's putting it up together, so.
that's exactly right.
This would be, Sunrise Center with possibly our logo, and then by Alcona County Commission on Aging. So if I say to you, let's go to the Sunrise Center, you know where we're going.
Exactly.
I mean, it's still associated with the Alcona County Commission on Aging.
And people are still gonna say the new senior center.
Yep.
They still, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Roland is right, and I think that it should happen simultaneously, is that you go to the courthouse, and if you're making the decision to go with that, that you do it all at the same time.
Well, we have to make a motion first and then
I
have
know,
Wendy
but,
do
you
that.
know, it was just kind of like, oh, we don't need to do that, but in all reality, it should be the same thing.
You know, we do the name and then do the courthouse. And did we have a company that was gonna look into that? Or were they gonna do that?
I believe when they sent a bill, yeah, it was Intrigue Digital. I think it was $100 to set everything up.
Right, that's just digital. We need to make sure that it's on a local level through the courthouse that's able to be done. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what digital is.
Yeah.
That's what Ron's saying, and he is correct. So maybe, I don't have time today, I gotta go vote, but.
The company probably took care of that, but one day or not.
That's what we have to find out. We have to make sure.
Yeah.
Double check with them. So is it the board's wishes that we name the new center, the Sunrise Center by Alcona County Commission on Aging? But we do have to get this secured before someone else uses it.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Yeah,
A second
I
motion?
second that motion.
okay, motion that we name the new center, the Sunrise Center by Alcona County Commission on Aging. It was seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Very good.
So let's,
Let's,
as far as ratifying this, we still need to decide if we're gonna ratify this particular action that the executive committee took. The whole board needs to ratify this or not ratify it, giving Wendy the ability to contact the individuals and get started on with that name.
okay.
So that's a motion.
Yes, right. Yes.
So I made the motion.
I second the motion.
Okay,
Would
so
I
we,
go to the register of deeds or to the county clerk or?
I think there's two separate questions. I mean, I think there's a legal question, what we have to do legally as opposed to what we can do without having to go forming a new business entity and trademarking a registry. So I can call the lawyer on Monday to see if, you know, if there's anything that we need to go on a separate procedure than what we've done. I mean, I think you could take it to an extreme that will make a whole new corporation and with a whole new name and, you know, that's getting into a whole nother ball of wax there.
Could we do without any, having to go through all that, do ABCOA? Sunrise Center? I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there.
it's just
I
switching,
don't think
it's
that
just
you guys
switching the words
switching the
around.
words
We're still gonna be ACCOA.
Right.
We're just naming the new building the Sunrise Center. So we're still gonna be by Alcona County Commission on Aging, so it's still gonna be the center.
So you're not really changing anything, you're just making sure on a county level that everything is okay.
Right.
Because say Sunrise Dental owns that in this little area, not so much out in the big cloud and all that. So if they have the rights to the Sunrise side, does that mean that it's available to everybody or just them? And you're okay
Sunrise
putting it out on a local level.
I'd say
So-
Sunrise Dental would be just them.
I'm not saying that we should go into any legal thing, but
Right.
I'm not necessarily sure that we should have to pay an attorney a phone call, find out what we can find out locally.
We can find out when Wendy, either the county clerk or
I'll just
Register
follow
of
up to
deeds.
the clerk and see what it
see what she says.
says. Yeah. That's free. That's
Yes.
the way to
So we-
start.
So we have a motion to ratify the executive committee's recommendations, and we have a second. Are we all in favor? Vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ratified. Okay, any, Bob, anything else?
Nope.
On your Secretary's level? Okay. Committee reports, on the financial committee, we met and had a lengthy meeting and worked on the finances and got it all done. And Wendy presented down in Rowan, ratified all that. No other committees right now have been met with, which we hope we never have to meet with a grievance with personnel committee. Fundraising committee, nothing's been done right now, building and policy committee, so we're pretty much set, just finances is all we met on so far.
Are you gonna make a copy of that
Yeah.
so we can have it?
Gotta change it
Okay.
and then get everybody's approval for it.
You know, the financial handbook says that we are just both, one of the things we're supposed to do is we're supposed to be presented with a statement of finances every month. Okay, we're getting that. The other thing is that we, as the finance committee, is supposed to, Wendy needs to talk to us if any change needs to be made to the budget. Well, no change needs to be made to the budget. It doesn't say that we need to vote on that as a whole board in the finance committee, whether we wanted to or not. What I do think maybe we need to vote on as a whole board is my replacement as treasurer. I think we, in the finance committee, since I resigned that day, we took the effort, we took the step of making Roland the treasurer. I think the board should probably vote on that officially. If Roland wants to be treasurer, I think somebody should nominate him. We should second it and do it as a whole board.
The reason I appointed him that day was he's here every day. He signs the checks. He's familiar with the finance committee. He's familiar with the procedure. He has been the treasurer in the past. And now that our new bylaws have been ratified, it was suggested to remove secretary treasurer and have two people instead of one. So that is why Bob resigned as the treasurer and we made Roland, because he was familiar with everything that's going on. We made Roland as the treasurer again. That was his title previously.
So I would make a motion if he's interested, I would make a motion to make Roland, nominate him as treasurer until the end of the term, which is the end of September.
I'll second.
Motion to make Roland Lynch the treasurer till the end of term in September, was it? And seconded by Delores. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Unfinished business, sale of the Harrisville property. It has been sold. It has been signed, sealed and delivered. The only thing I do have to check on is we got a, assessment on valuation. We're not the owners. It could have crossed in the mail. The two boards, they have to register it with the register of deeds and everything, so I will contact them, but the property's been sold. It's on a land contract. So we'll have money coming in on that now to be put into a separate, it'll be in the same account under a separate number. So he'll make his payments right to the credit union. It'll stay out of our general fund. It'll go right just directly to the payment, the property. Taxes will be paid by the new owner. Has to be sent, a copy has to be sent each year to us to make sure the taxes were paid. Default of payment in 2 months, it reverts back to the ACCOA. So yeah, everything was taken care of and we're no longer we are still the secondary owner, I guess you would call it, but it's still the new owner is responsible for all that. So that has been taken care of. The listing with the senior center. I have a meeting with Banner Realty on Friday at 11 o'clock up in Alpena to get a price and either we list it. She recommended listing it right now she said the earlier the better. She said if we do list it, we'll work out all the details Friday, but, she said that she would make sure that the buyer would know that they couldn't take up and see until we are completely out in October sometime. So if we can move, if we get in sooner, that's fine, but if not, we'll still be moving stuff in October. That's, the buyer will know that, whoever it should be.
Is it gonna be a problem if she lists it and somebody wants to buy it and they say, okay, you can stay here until October with this SBA loan that says all this stuff is theirs? What happens if there's a problem there?
Not theirs, it's ours. Oh, you mean the SBA?
Yeah,
Come get it.
Well, hopefully that'll be paid off.
Yeah, hopefully we can get that paid off.
but should we pursue selling it until that is taken care of?
Well, we're not gonna sell it till, well, they can't take occupancy until October, so hopefully by October, this board that we have right now is not gonna sit on our hands. We're just gonna get paid, one way or the other. One way or the other, that's gotta come off the books. So, it's a shame that we have to go this route, but it is what it is. So I will meet with them Friday, I'll go up to Alpena and, meet with Banner, see what they wanna do, how they wanna handle it, what the percentage will be. And how long they wanna sign up with it for. And then like we were talking, she said if it would be better to list it now than wait. Because if they do have a buyer, then they'll just make sure that the buyer knows upfront that they can't occupy it until probably the end of October. So. And possibly that could be extended, so. That's where we are on that. Any
Didn't
questions?
you say that the agent, she was the one that initially said something like there was a lien on the building?
Yes, but further check, it was just, according to Cindy Scott, she was saying they can't put a lien on the building. And I think Carolyn was gonna check into that,
Which,
the lien on the building. You said you were gonna stop at the courthouse and see if there was. And then, she thought there was, but when I talked to her the other day, I said, according to our auditor, Cindy Scott said that they couldn't put it on personal property or real property. You could, what was that?
Where would she have come up with that idea, though?
Because
That's
it
the
says it-
interesting thing. She wouldn't have just said that out
I
loud
know,
unless she had.
It
why
says
Carolyn
in
was-
it says in here in the collateral, hang on, I gotta put my other glass, my reading glasses. Um, all tangible and intangible personal property. I wrote it down, what she said, this. They only had, according to all of this, according to what Cindy said, is they could not take the actual building, but they could take every single thing that was in this building and leave nothing.
I just wonder where the broker came up
Right.
with that. I mean, she must have seen something. She wouldn't have
Right.
just made that
I
up.
might have
so
seen
she
that,
must
you
have-
know, the personal property that they had all, everything was collateral.
And that could be, yeah, I don't
And
know.
then the other thing she mentioned was, she thought that some of the new building over here was on our property line, and I had talked to Brad, and Brad said absolutely not. He had it surveyed by John Oliver. And he said he went out and checked and, you know, everything is all good. And he said, actually, we don't own the road anyway. Everything all the way up. She said it looked by aerial photos at just the corner on our property. And I went out and I did check and it is on Brad's and everything's good, so. She said that could just have been the way the picture was taken. So. We can check, Carolyn, will look into that. Okay, thank you. Okay, move on from that. If there's no other questions, we'll move on to new business. I do have a new thing. The other day, I got a phone call from Patty. She went over to sign to move some money from savings into checking so she could pay the bills. And they wouldn't let her move any money from one account at the Alcona Credit Union to another, same account, just a different name of it, you know, from savings to checking. So she called me and said she couldn't move no money. She can't make the payment. I'm like, what does it take? She said 2 signatures. Wendy was off sick. So I ran in and I signed with it because I am on the account. And all we're doing is moving it from savings into checking so she could pay the bills. The credit union over there said it would be so much easier to make a resolution stating one signature is required by Patty or who, you know, one of the executive director, have one signature required for transfers of money within the account. Don't mean she can take it, you know, anywhere else. She can move it from like savings to checking. And that would eliminate, if I would have been out of town, Wendy was off sick, we're dead in the water, she can't send the checks out. So
Are you the only one on that? I thought I was on it too. No?
No,
I think that's what's so bizarre. I think we're all on that as people who are authorized.
Right.
So if we're authorized to move it out of there, why in the world wouldn't be authorized to move it within internal accounts? It just doesn't even make sense.
No.
But if they need it, we'll do it.
so I guess my recommendation, and I'm a stickler on 2 signatures, but that, not just moving it within the account, that's getting out, you know, sending it out. Like on our checks, we have 2 signatures. So I really believe that we should make a resolution stating that we only require one signature for transfer within the internal account.
Won't you always know if an individual transfers within the account, you'll know who that individual was?
Oh, yeah, there is
So
gonna
this-
be Wendy or Patty,
Yeah, so
one signature.
Yeah.
Nobody else moves anything from within that account. And the good thing, I think, is we're right here. They know who's gonna be moving money. So let's say all of a sudden Mike goes in to move some money. That's gonna throw.
it sounds like it's just a box they need to check at the credit union.
That's it.
Authorizing.
Right,
by
but
all
well,
means.
we have to make a resolution to allow one signature.
And then
To-
can you authorize it then if we, pass the resolution?
Mhm. Yep, takes one signature to move, to transfer within the internal account. So all she'd be doing is taking it from savings into checking and then she can come back over.
So are they asking for all the people who are already on the account? Or are they asking that can do this, or they want us to designate one person that can move it from account?
She just said.
Or is
one
it everybody
signature.
who's already on there can do it?
One person, I would,
So we need to authorize one person who can move it from account to
Yeah.
account.
no, one
Yeah.
signature,
One signature.
one signature.
Like
Any of
if
you
Patty and I
authorized
were
people?
both Gone, Bill could go in there and just
Tell them we need to
say,
move.
yeah, say Patty and I were both gone and Kim, who's gonna be our backup now,
Mhm.
we're doing something and Kim called Bill and said, hey, can you move this? Cause she's not on there. And Bill could go over there with one signature and move some.
So I guess we just need to we just need a resolution allowing one signature to be required for moving, to transfer funds from one account to another account within the internal account, so.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Turk, seconded by Ron Lynch to allow for one signature at the Alcona County, Alcona County Credit Union to transfer from one account to another account within the internal account, so. A roll call, please.
Chapanowski.
Here.
Bachhorst.
Here,
Turek. Yes. Potter.
Yes.
Schlicker.
Yes.
McKinnon.
No.
Lynch.
Yes.
Motion carried. So then they did ask if,
I think they need to say yes or no, not.
Yes.
yeah, it's just this. Wasn't a roll call, it's a vote.
Okay,
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you, Mike.
okay. So they just was asking if we could have a copy of the minutes over there, so they have it, so the on record.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go down to new business, so make sure, yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Anybody else have any new business?
Um, where are we with our meal trucks? Have we made any headway on that or?
We have, I got some quotes. And
Since the last finance meeting?
maybe, oh, no, they're the same ones.
Okay,
But then I was out last week for a couple days with that kidney stone, so I do need to reach out to him. And he did tell me he's got 3, excuse me, 3 of the Chevys available, like immediately, if we wanted, if we were interested in those. So now I just have to see if I can do some wheeling and dealing.
yeah,
She needs me to just to do the wheeling.
Right.
I did mention to Wendy, which we are 501c3, so we have to mention that to Doug to let him know that.
No
you know,
tax.
No taxes on the
Yeah.
vehicle, so. Okay,
so this very well could take place fairly soon.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
It'll save us money too, because
And-
our,
Just so everybody knows, I looked at the black truck. The black truck only has 127,000 miles on it. It does not need a new motor. We can put that off. I mean, if it gets up where it's starting to, the engine itself is starting to nickel and dime on us, then we'll consider it. But right now, it's not even broke in. I mean, I got 147,000 on mine, and as long as you keep the oil changed and, good tires on it, it should, brakes, of course, but that truck has got a brand new transmission, should last for us for a long time.
And Al keeps that truck immaculate.
Exactly. So right now, at this time, we do not need to spend $5,000 on a new motor.
Mhm.
If it needs it, we'll definitely look into that, because the body and the frame and everything's really good on that truck, so.
so we will replace the red one,
And put the red one in for
the
a
second.
backup and
and
get
then-
rid of the white one.
Will they take the white one on
We got a
trade-in?
wheeling deal.
Mhm.
It's called wheeling and dealing. I mean,
You
there's a lot of
wanna go
questions.
Wheel and deal,
With-
Dolores?
I think Phil's pretty good at that.
Yeah, I'll get him down.
So we said in the finance committee, Wendy and Phil continue negotiation.
Yeah, we'll get her, we'll get her. Is there any other new business? Okay. We'll go to public comment, limit 2 minutes per person in township. You wanna,
Judy French, Hurstville Township. So about this SBA loan. I'm sure you guys have thought about like just about every scenario, but if the collateral's everything in this building, or even if it's this building's not worth $150,000. In my opinion, stop paying the loan. We haven't gotten, one of the things that struck me was, okay, we haven't got a bill. ACCOA hasn't gotten a bill here since January 2021. The timing of that seems a little bit interesting to me. So if we can't get the information, stop paying on it. Okay, so we're gonna be out of this building. I say we, ACCOA is gonna be out of this building in the new building before SBA is gonna come after this building. Let them have it. Who cares? This building was bought for $1. You know, the stuff that's in this building, it's not like anything here is worth $150,000 and you plan to take it over there. As far as I know, everything's gonna be new. So I mean, that's what I would suggest.
Can I respond?
go ahead.
I think only we'd have to be careful for the fact that that would be kitchen equipment also. That would be computers, that would be our daily.
Well-
function.
Right,
Right.
So
I mean-
I'm right
Okay.
there with you. but-
Yes, but anyway, but hopefully with attorneys and this gets solved, I would not just drop it at all. I would not just send money, because you don't know, especially if he can keep adding to the loan.
Wouldn't they need a court order to come in and take the physical property?
They would have to give us notice.
So I would quit paying it and worry about what's gonna happen down the road with that. The only other thing I wanna mention is, in my opinion, at sitting up there at a meeting, is that phones are not only distracting, but I'm not sure, I think that if a phone is up there and it is looked at or used during a meeting, that technically anybody can FOIA whatever's going on in that phone. I could be texting you, hey, mention this, hey, mention that. Communication while you're in that meeting, which is a big no-no. So
Time's up.
I would suggest phones not even be on the table. I don't know the technicality behind some of that, but just my thought.
Okay, time's up. Thank you. Anybody else have anything? No? Okay. We'll close public comment and we'll move to director's additional comments and concerns.
I don't have any concerns. I do have one comment, so, it's a good one. I've been getting several calls lately, very good calls saying how people have noticed change around here, how things are going really good. People are absolutely loving the food menu. I'm getting a lot of people calling about that. It's just, I've gotten a couple calls on our drivers, how great the drivers are, direct care workers. I've got a couple new ones, and I'm telling you, if I could clone one of them, I would, because she started out filling in for people, and now everybody wants her. So, I mean, and I did go and get my hair done last week, and everybody was telling me that people, because you know how people talk at the beauty salon, that they have not heard one negative thing, that people have been talking very highly of the senior center lately. So that made me smile.
Rightly so. Yeah. We're doing something right.
We're getting there.
The only negative word I've heard so far is people wish that our local papers would get more involved and let people know what's going on.
Amen. And we've tried.
I know we've tried several times and so that's the only negative thing I'm hearing, but like you said, I'm hearing a lot of positive things about the new center, the old center, how things have changed. So that's a good thing.
And I think we can keep trying. You know, with the newspaper, I think it's a good idea to keep trying.
So that's, well, I think once the construction starts, maybe they'll do something. I don't know. Depends on if she can get out of here, so.
Come and get pictures once in a while.
Yep, okay, that's all I had. Anybody else? Okay. Motion to adjourn, I'll enhance a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Until March 26th.
Yep.
Well, this morning,